And then Gina, you also say Cali should have public internet and its own Green New
Right.
Deal. I wanted to add. So, what is your? I mean, obviously, environmental policies are a big part of what
Right.
you're all about. But
Yeah.
what about as far as like localized Green New Deals?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I mean, I know it's like if every city in the country did that, we would. I mean, we still need change to happen at the top too, because if nothing's done about the major polluters of the world, we're still kind of screwed. But if every community had their own Green New Deal, doing as much as they feasibly could as a community, that's not nothing.
No, it's not. No, and I believe in that community-based politics actually, and I think it
Mm-hmm.
has to happen locally. I mean, there are, I think Culver City had a great transformation lately in how they're addressing climate change. I also know like, Anaheim's doing great things with water and recapturing their water. And Northern California as well. Northern California as well is has local Green New Deals, or at least candidates running who have drafted like really elaborate policies. Northern California is a little more advanced in terms of where LA County is. But I absolutely think you're right, Ron. We need to achieve this locally. Part of the reason I was running for state, state is still local. It's not
Right.
right local, right, but I want to be that type of candidate. I want to be at, in the communities and holding these city officials accountable, because I think that's that's what we should do. That's how it has to happen. Even if we had a national Green New Deal passed, right? I mean, the issue here is implementation and accountability, right? Making sure that it's happening at the community level. That is where it's happening. And so, if we think about, I mean, this seems unrelated, but if you think about even like the issue of rent control, right? California, perfect example of this local, kind of organizing local issues, local changes that have to happen in policy. We had a universal rent control law passed, but it doesn't unfortunately mean much because we have still local cities that are raising rents because of two laws that weren't overturned by our Democratic supermajority at the state level, called Costa-Hawkins and Ellis. And so I just want to shout out Prop 21, right, which is really important to vote yes, because it'll give that local, power to really enact rent control. But yeah, this is like a multifold issue, Ron, right? Like I think the way I envision it is we need laws passed at federal, state, and local level, but we also need folks working together. For example, my congressional rep is Nanette Barragan, right? And we will have, in my district, there are city officials, there are neighborhood councils, there's also a congressional rep. I want to work together with all of them. My federal representative, the local representative. Right now, that's not really happening. I mean, it's not happening from what I see, at least in my district. I don't see different levels of government working together for the benefit of the people. I don't see that happening. Correct me if I'm wrong, wrong, but I don't see that happening. And I think that has to happen if we're addressing this with the urgency that needs to happen. And it's the only way we're going to hold local communities accountable to actually implementing the laws that pass, whether it's on the statewide level, that's why I think one thing that I want to do is to really do audits as a state rep of, school boards, of city councils, how the money's being spent, and just be completely transparent. So I think that's definitely not happening right now. It's just more that we're concerned about our political relationships, and so we won't hold, for example, a local city official accountable, right? At the loss of the people that are struggling from this law not being implemented. That's what I see happening. So
Oh,
it should,
absolutely. I mean, when you see local politics where it's just a bunch of developers
right.
trying to make it easier for them to have your way, you realize, oh, okay, this is why we never really get anything for the people.
Mm-hmm.
They got in. But it also shows you the other big lesson, though, is that there's a ton of power locally. There's a
Yeah.
ton of power locally. These rich, I mean, here in Pasadena, our mayor is basically a big real estate developer who's also the mayor. He doesn't need that mayoral salary. He doesn't need that money. He's doing it because he knows, hey, it's gonna be easier for me and my cronies to do what we want in this community if I'm mayor. That's all it is.
Yep.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your